Okay. Be sure not to use default nipples, or Hex will hunt you down. Alright, so you want to get good at Kisekae, huh? Well, when you first start up, you've got quite a few options. You might find yourself being a little overwhelmed. Well, it's not that difficult. It's just something that takes a little bit of time to get used to. Now, the first thing you're going to do when you get Kisekae is you're going to want to go to this little magnifying glass button right here and hit Expert. And it will give you way more options to work with. If you find yourself being overwhelmed, don't worry. We're just going to go through these options all one at a time. This button right here, the Set button, will make all of the characters on screen either a group of characters from, I think this is Kaon, I'm pretty sure this is Love Live, I've got no idea what this one is, and this one makes them all random. This one right here will individually turn a character into a preset character. This one right here is a general thing where if you click on a character, you can press this button to hide them, this button to change their pose, this button to change a general body type, this one makes them taller, this one changes their hairstyle, this one changes their eye type, this one changes a piece of clothing, and this right here changes the background. We're gonna go with the default one. Now, the first thing you can do to make Kisekae run smoother in general is select the All button, then hide them, then hit Select, then hit it again, and you've only got one character on screen. Hitting Sort will center all the characters you have, and that's what that tab does. This tab right here controls the arm movement. This little button bends the shoulders. This one makes it bend at the elbow. This button right here makes it so the arms will go above or below the torso. This button right here will change the hand position. You've got quite a few hand types. This button right here will rotate the hands at the wrist. And this button right here makes it so you can move each hand individually. Anytime you see that little chain button, that means that it will affect things symmetrically. So if you only want to have one hand do a thing, the chain. If you want something on the other hand, you can do it like that. This is the leg button. Like I said, there's that chain. You can move the legs. They don't have a slider. Leg options can be a little wonky at times. This rotates the head. This rotates the body. This moves it left and right. And this option moves things forwards and backwards in a 3D space, which you won't realize unless you have a second model, which you can use for comparison. This little button right here will swap characters around if you have more than one of them. This button right here makes a character go downwards, but not within 3D space. And this one makes them go up while affecting the shadow. This button removes the shadow altogether. This is the drop shadow menu. I'm going to be honest, I don't really use it that much, but it's there. All these buttons do a different thing. This button right here, or this option right here, controls body type. You can make that to make them taller, or that affects their entire body. This affects their, I guess both of them affect the entire body. This one affects the leg height only. This one affects leg width. This one affects arm width. This one affects chest width, shoulder width, hip and waist width, and I guess thighs as well. This one affects belly buttons. This one affects, I'm not sure what the term is, but this is how you give your character abs or make them look pregnant, I guess. This affects torso length, and all of these options except for arm width, and this is a general thing you can do with most things in Kisekae. If you hold the spacebar, you can go beyond the 100 boundary. And that is a tooltip that will help you make things look better in general in Kisekae. This button right here controls skin color. Well, you have a large option of skin colors. You can also just click that little thing right there to give them whatever skin color you want. This option right here will turn them completely monotone. This button right here changes transparency. This button right here can give you a variety of tans, which it's hard to notice because she's fully clothed. This button right here changes the blush type on your character. If you're working on the version of Kisekae Online, almost all characters will start with this blush setting of 1, which is known as default blush. Most people think that leaving that on makes a character look kind of amateur, so what is recommended, at least by most of the people, is that you set it to 10 and get rid of it altogether. Characters in Kisekae tend to have very large heads, so quite a few people set the head size to 0. It looks weird on her because I've really just brutalized her body proportions. The neck normally is set at 50 and that's good, but you can make it go up or down or whatever you want. There are a lot of head options. You will find yourself pretty much not using quite a few of these ones. They're like spiky or like these ones. If you're trying to make a cute girl, you probably won't be using any of these. I personally just almost always tend to use head shape 4 and hope nobody calls me out for it. This controls head width. This controls head length. Kisekae characters tend to have a case of 5 heads, so if you want, you can shrink the chin and then move it down. This controls breast size. This controls nipple type, which I have hidden because this is a YouTube video. And this button right here controls the genitalia, which, once again, YouTube, so I'm just not going to click that at all. This is your hair options, your basic hair options. This button right here will change all of the character's hair at once. You can do two-tone. Once again, you can choose whatever colors you want. This option right here controls like the sides of the hair, the main hair, I guess. This button right here controls the bangs. You've got a lot of options. You press this in general, this little arrow button right there will flip the hair. This button right here is a general layering option. Putting it at 1 will set it behind the side of the hair, putting it over will make the bangs go in front. This button right here controls bang length. Once again, you can make it positive or negative values. The larger you go in either direction, it'll start to have some wonkier effects. This button right here controls the back of the hair. And this controls whether or not it is affected by gravity. This controls the back of the hair's length. This controls its width. This controls how high up it is on your character. These buttons right here control the little, I guess, pigtails? I don't know. They can be a lot of things. Once again, these buttons change the layering. These buttons change whether or not it flows with gravity. This will change how far out it goes. And this will change the length and width. They don't have separate sliders. This right here is the hair, I guess, hair, people call it a variety of things, but it's generally what you're going to use for making your hair look even spunkier. Now, this right here is actually pretty complicated, so I'll be saving this and 3 other things for later on. This right here is your eye tab. You've got 25 eyes. It's really only a handful of them see any use, I think. Like 22 to 23 or 22 to 24 I never see used. This right here rotates the eyes. This right here makes them go forward or closer or farther away. This makes them go up or down. This button right here will make them go wide or Pokemon looking, I guess. This one makes them big ol' anime eyes, or the default. This button right here will change a little effect on the top of the eyes. This one has the same effect, but on the bottom. This right here controls the eye color. You can make them mismatched if you want. Thing is, the default pupils that you get, they make it a little kind of hard to see the eye type, so I normally use some of the later ones. You can make them small or big. You can make them cross-eyed as fuck. You can make them look cursed. And then this controls eye shine. If your character doesn't have eye shine and they're not a Danganronpa character, they're going to look dead. The first kinds of eye shines are pretty big, so you can normally just keep scrolling until you find one you like. This one works for me. She still looks kind of wonky, doesn't she? Oh, by the way, tool tips. You can press like, let's see here, 9 makes the underwear transparent, Shift and 9 returns it to normal, 8 makes them thicker, Shift and 8 makes them return to normal, 7 makes them taller, Shift and 7 makes them smaller, And M will make things pop up so you can see the values of everything. Let's set that back to 50. You're a lot less cross-eyed. This right here is your general like face tab. This button right here controls what eyebrows she's got. Let's lower those. This controls the total size of the mouth. This controls mouth position. This little mustache thing is very rarely a mustache. Most of the time it's just a mole being placed somewhere on the body, but there are better ways to go about doing that. Options 6 and 7 give you freckles. I'll put freckles on because I think those are cute. 8 gives you the actual mustache. 9 gives you a little bit of face shadow. 10 gives you a lot of face shadow. This button right here controls the nose. There are 46 types of nose, and quite a few of them are never going to see use. Specifically these ones right here. A lot of people are probably not going to use, but hey, if you're making a furry character, go ahead. The first nose, option 1, it's known as dot nose. Not a lot of people are fans of that. It's kind of hard to see. On the other end, like this, where it's just a big old straight line, that's also kind of unattractive in most people's eyes. This right here controls the nose's size. You can make it a thick nose, you can make it a long nose. This controls its position on the head. This gives the nose some shadow. You can make it really transparent or really opaque. You've got a lot of different nose shading to work with. You can control the width and the height of the shading, as well as move that up and down. This controls the ears. Those are currently hiding behind her head, so we can't see them. This is face marks. One sec. Let's just zoom in. A lot of people can use face marks to make, like, let's say, okay, let's go to face mark 3, and then shrink that to -1, and then shrink that down to 2, make it black, hide those, go back, and just move these down. And for a lot of things like face marks, hair types, belts, and ribbons, you've got the copy all option, and you've got the copy option. Using the copy all will copy all of the things you have on the tab so you can use them for other characters. The copy one will just copy the thing you have selected. So let's just copy the triangles and then paste them. And then let's move them out. And you can give your character little eyelashes like that. This button right here controls if they're mirrored or not, in case you want to just like do something on one side only, like say give them a scar, or like make them sweating because they're nervous. And if you don't like how deep something looks, or like the outline on the thing in Kisekae, you can copy it and just make an exact duplicate on top of it, and shrink it, and then just remove the border altogether, and you can make the outline a little smaller. See here. Then there's, if you want to do some facial shading, you can use face paint 32. Make it like wide as hell. Rotate it to whatever you want. Set it to 180 and push it up. And make it like that. And then use this little button right here to color pick something that matches the darkness of her skin. And you've got a little bit of face shading. It's subtle but effective. This button right here controls some more, well, okay, so I should mention something. The character editor set the zoom level to 7, so you should probably set it to 7. That's what your character is going to look like. This button right here controls some more extra features. You've got a lot of different furry stuff. You can give your character a tail. You can give them wings. Clicking on wings can affect, oh, she's got auto emotions on. First thing you should do always, remove those. Those are just annoying. You can give your character wings if you want. Let's see here, you can also give them horns. A lot of options there. You can adjust the size of the wings, them bigger or smaller, where they are in the body. Same thing with the tail. This is the emotion tab. Let's see here. These have it set to manual, so you don't need to worry about most of these. This affects the blush level. This affects like the despair level, I guess. Can't remember what 1 does. 2 makes tears. 3 makes little white lights in their eyes. 4 makes hearts. 5 makes heavy breathing. 6 makes little sparkles. And like a lot of these ones right here are like cartoony things. Same with this right here. For more cartoony expressions, this option right here makes the eyes really cartoony. You've got a lot of options there. This one is how you make a face look the way you want to make a face. This option right here controls the eyes. You can make them open or closed. This shrinks the pupils. You can also make them different individually. This controls where they're looking. This button right here will make it so the rightmost makes them look center. The farther you go out, just that. Like almost all sliders, you can hold the space bar to get some funky results. Same thing with up and down. This controls the position of the eyebrows, or the, I guess, like, intensity of them. This one rotates them. This one makes them go up or down. You can make asymmetrical eyebrows and make your character look like that if you want. This controls the mouth type. Most people don't like this one specifically, mouth number 3. You're going to find that a lot of the mouths don't really look attractive. Yeah. Okay. This one controls mouth width, mouth height, I guess. This one controls the outline of the mouth. You're not really going to notice that unless you're using certain kinds, I guess. Mouth rotation. Once again, you can hold spacebar, get some funny results. Mouth position. Mouth position. This one is mostly used to affect breast direction once they're naked, which YouTube video, so you know. This button right here controls clothing. You can, this option right here is fairly limited. It only gives you 3 things. You can control what kind of sleeves your character's got. Colors. You can control what kind of pockets they've got. And there are a lot of pocket options. You can control this thing. This will give you more options, but it's layered below. Same thing, you've got your sleeves and you've got your pockets. This option right here gives you a lot of like jacket type things to work with. Let's get rid of that. You can click on it to unbutton it slightly. You've got your undershirts. And those all have the same amount of options. You've got your skirts, which there are a lot of. And then this gives you pants. And this right here controls the pant length or type or whatever. And this will like give you different kind of like, I guess, options. Or, I'm not really sure. This right here will control like pantyhose, I guess is the term. Oh, this right here, if you can't see what you're working with, you can press that. It brings the toolbar to the top of the screen. This option controls the socks. We recently got a lot more socks. Just find what you like. If you want to make your character look like they're wearing spats, what you can do is you can match the sock type to their skin tone. And it looks like they've got spats on. This controls ankle accessories. There are a lot of those. Let's make them pink, bitch. Let's see here. This controls. One sec. Okay. This controls shoes. So that's another part of on the lower body. You're gonna want to put this little tool bar up here. Got lots of shoe options. Let's have those real quick. Certain shoes will not have this little guy right here. Certain shoes will. You can press this to change what like the top of the shoes look like. Let's just give her a little where are they? There, little loafers, whatever their term is. This controls underwear as well as a variety of other things. You know what that is. This controls more, I guess, accessories. You've got hats, which are often layered behind things you wish they weren't layered behind. Let's see if I can find anything that looks good on this horrifyingly terrible character I've designed. If I get this basic enough, it's just gonna get like red or some shit. You can give them glasses. There are a lot of different kinds of headwear, or I guess eyewear in this case. You can move those up or down. Face masks. Lots of different kinds of those. Headbands, which you can layer up or down. Yes, this is the Naruto option. Headphones, you got 4 of them. You can actually click on them once to make them go on the shoulders. Click on them again and they'll disappear. Clicking on most things in Kisekae makes them disappear. Example, this little, oh, for some reason it doesn't work with gloves. Earrings, which are, her ears are being hidden. This little choker, you've got quite a few of them. You got like bandanas and all sorts of stuff. Once again, that can be layered. Pendants, ties, bows, etc. This right here is another thing which I'm going to get into towards the end. This, along with the hair things from earlier and belts, are going to be what you use to make your characters look really complicated when you're ready for that. These are the belts. We'll get to that later. You've got different kinds of things you can put on the arms. This little chain button will make it so it matches the first color you selected. These do the same thing. A lot of them won't show up because of the shirt she's got on. Like this one right here is probably layered behind her shirt. Same with that one, and that one. These are the gloves. Alright. This is image attachments. I'll get to that in a second. This is global stuff. These will not move with your character. And if you want to move them, you'll have to move them all individually. So I'd suggest keeping the amount of global items you have to a minimum. These are global arms. If you want to make like a sword, but you don't want to have it, but you want to make it like behind your character, you can make it global, set it to 13 so it's invisible, and then move it in 3D space back and rotate it. And now your character's got a sword on their back. These are accessories but global. You've got belts but global. These are set, I guess, like set pieces. I don't know. Those you're not going to find yourself really using for making a character's basic poses. Maybe for an epilogue. There's quite a few different options for playing around. Really, if you're just posing a character, you're not going to find yourself using them. They've got flags. I've literally never seen them used, but they've got them. Speech bubbles, which can be used for fancy lighting, or like just in a similar vein to belts, hair, accessories, and ribbons. You can use them to make fancy things. You can also attach images to them, which we'll get into in a bit. This option right here controls the background. You probably won't need that. You can use this to type. This controls a variety of options. This controls your zoom level. And that is the basics of Kisekae. I'm going to boot up a model that will showcase you how you can use belts, accessories, and hair pieces to make your characters look as, what is the term? Accurate to their source material as possible. Alright, right here we have my Roxas model from Kingdom Hearts. So you're going to notice that my computer is a bit of a toaster. So now that I've got a more complicated model on the screen, it's going to start taking some time to respond to stuff. This character uses 75 hair pieces to make his hair look the way it does. Hair pieces are one of the best things you can have in Kisekae. They will make your character, they can make you have capes and stuff. You've got 68 options, so if you want to make a thing, you probably get the general shape with hair pieces. They can be layered over, or they'll start at layer 1 behind your character's head. You can layer them slightly above that or all the way above that. The higher the number is on a hairpiece, it'll take priority of appearing above other hairpieces on a lower number. You can skew them, which will, see here, like, make them do that or that. You can make them big or small. Really, you're going to want to just play around with those a lot and just practice with them. Another thing I didn't show earlier is that, see here, you can use face marks to make your own custom noses. See here. Now that's face shading. See here. Yeah, like 14, but like 2 and 12, like you can make your own kind of custom noses. Now you're gonna want like, okay, let's see. This right here, those are all belts. That's all just belts and time. Let's zoom back out to the normal level. Those keyblades are almost all belts as well. Let's open up our belts. Start hiding things and realize what it is. I'm going to use so many that you might not know. Okay, I've got a better idea. Let's open up a character that doesn't have any belts. And it's just, we'll go to their belts tab. We'll copy all. And we'll go and hide them. And go back to Roxas. Make sure that, yeah, okay, that's all turned off. Good. Let's see what happens when I get rid of all the belts I have on Roxas. And this will probably lag my computer out a bit, but that's okay. This is all for any purpose. Let's paste all belts. And see what happens when I remove all the belts from Roxas. See? It's far less stunning. And so those belts are how you can make all the complicated looking things. It's really just a matter of just practicing with them. Like, okay, belts at level 1 will go behind what seems to be behind the body, but it's not. If you take off his shirt, there's the belts. Belts layer 2 will go above belts layer 1, and I think above shirts? Yes. Belts layers 1 and 2 will stop here on the body. Belts layers 3 and 4, they can go slightly above that. Belts layered at 4 will pretty much go above every part, every other option, every other thing possible. This right here will constrict the belts to the body. This will make it so it can go off the body. You've got quite a few different kinds of belts you can use. And those are pretty good for getting like coats or like making the blade parts of a keyblade. Accessories you can use for similar purposes. Accessories by default will be attached to the head, which means that if you move the head, they will rotate with the head. Similar to hair. Only if they're attached to the head can you change what layer they're on. You can attach them to the body, but you won't be able to layer them if you do that. But that's okay, because what you can do is make an image import out of belts or hair pieces or accessories. Like, you'll notice that Oathkeeper right there is an import. And I'll show you real quick how you make those. Alright, right here I've got my Oblivion when I made it, before I turned it into an image import. It is made entirely from belts, which as I take away, we'll start to notice Oblivion looking more and more ugly. It is made entirely from belts of different types. It uses a lot of belts. The more complicated something is, the more belts you'll need to make it look accurate. So it uses belts, a lot of them. And it uses accessories, which are like belts, except they have a lot more variety in what kind of shapes you can get. They're honestly much better. The only reason they're not completely utilized over them is because you can't really layer them in a nice, clean way unless you're doing them with global belts. And like I said before, global belts, unless you're turning them into an image import, can be very tedious to work with because of just how, if you use so many, you gotta, and you want to move one, you're gonna have to move them all manually. But like, as you can see, there's a lot of different things you've got going on here. So just working with those and like figuring out what makes what shape is going to be what you're really going to focus on in order to go beyond just making a character look decent. Using image imports by like clicking that magnifying glass, clicking that button right there, and like scanning it, setting this to 5 so it's a high quality photo, pressing that to make it transparent, and then the PNG option. And that's how you're going to take pictures, and then you can attach them to your characters. And that about covers the general gist of it. It's really not complicated. It's just something that takes time. And I hope that this video has helped you get a basic understanding of how you can make your models look as best as they can be. Thanks for watching.